This is Albert Breer, and Breer's a regular voice and a contributor here on the radio station, on with Cap and Hoodie once a week. He was at Bears camp last week. But here was Breer on Rich Eisen's podcast talking about Caleb and the Bears offense. I want you to take a listen to this and then react to it.
I think Caleb's got a ways to go. It did not look good the day I was there. And, when I talk to people there about why it looked that way is they're trying to make Caleb drink through a fire hose. Developmentally, he had a long way to go coming out of USC. Then he had the really sideways rookie year. And you can see when you watch the difference in the speed of the operation when Case Keenum is in there, when Tyson Bagent is in there versus where it is with Caleb Williams. And so they're just trying to overload him with information. They're overloading him with defensive looks. They're overloading him with everything to try to speed up his process, to try speed up his learning. And the plan is from here then to start to narrow that down, right? So you're starting with this huge kind of menu of things that you're trying to do with him and seeing what he can handle and trying to speed him up. And then as they get closer to the season, they'll narrow it back down. So, again, it just didn't look great the day I was there. I think there's a method to what Ben Johnson is doing. I would trust him with a quarterback. But you could see developmentally where it was almost like, I don't know if this is the right analogy, but you've got this, you got it's like you've got like this thoroughbred horse and you're breaking the horse.
One thing really stood out to me there, you guys. Developmentally, he had a long way to go coming out of USC. Is that supposed to be the case when guys have the generational tag placed upon them? And I guess maybe shame on me or anybody else. I hate that term. I really do. I don't know what it means. I mean, of course I know what it means, but in the context of sports and prospects and especially with football, generational. Are generational talents supposed to have, quote unquote, developmentally a long way to go coming out of USC?
Okay, so let's try and.
Do you understand what I'm asking, Chris? I
totally understand what you're asking. And as someone who follows and watches USC football very closely, I think I understand completely what Albert Breer is pointing to.
And Breer's saying this is what he's heard from people in the league.
How long did it take Baker Mayfield to click?
It took him a while.
Kyler Murray clicked.
So this is a Lincoln Riley thing?
Yes, 100%. Lincoln Riley, essentially his play sheet is a very small play sheet that the calls, essentially the offense, the way that they operate is a lot of the positions and the coverage and what they call, you all stay in the same spot.
Right.
And the quarterback is kind of running through 10 different options, variations off of the same set. And so they're not running a full offensive system.
You're certainly not running like a pro style.
No,
offense.
You're not at all. I think that's what Albert Breer is pointing to is that because Caleb was in Lincoln Riley's offensive system, he was not properly prepared to be an NFL quarterback who's in the huddle, getting the full play call, having to regurgitate the full play call, and to make those calls at the line and kind of change protections and do all this stuff. They don't really do that in Lincoln's system, and that's kind of why they've struggled the last 2 years offensively. He's for the offensive guru that he claims to be, and the price tag that comes along with it. People have been pretty down on Lincoln Riley around that program and the way that they've produced offensively. So I just would tell me the quarterback from his system that immediately was successful.
Well, you bring up great points. Baker took a while. Kyler's still kind of a work in progress, but I think getting a little bit better out there now.
But it wasn't his rookie year as
No, you're right.
And now we're seeing I think
even
Baker
Jalen
Mayfield,
Hurts, right? I mean, was Jalen with?
He was there for one season
at Oklahoma.
Yeah,
right?
he was there for one season with Lincoln.
Yeah.
But I think Baker's a great example. Baker Mayfield, it's taken time, and now he gets it, and he's
good.
thriving in Tampa. I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily on the prospect, or maybe it's just the way that Lincoln Riley coaches offensive football. I don't know.
Then that's a good response to it. Maybe that's how we're connecting the dots to like why, or it's a reasonable explanation as to why people in circles now are telling people like Albert Breer and others that there's still developmentally a long way to go. And unfortunately, the Bears, in a sense, like just punted on a full year because they were typical Bears last offseason, and they were an abject failure and a disaster. They should have moved on from Matt Eberflus when they knew they got the first pick and they were going to draft Caleb, and they seemed pretty dead set on that. There wasn't much kicking the tires on anybody else, let's face it. Okay, True Fan Travel and ESPN Chicago are teaming up for the ultimate fan getaway to Sin City. That's right. We're going to see the Bears take on the Raiders in Vegas at the end of September. It's going to be great.
What do you get? Round-trip airfare. You get a 3-night stay at Mandalay Bay. You got special live broadcasts of all the fellas. We're going to be there, guys. It's going to be Friday. It's going to be Saturday. It's going to be all the stuff on Sunday. It's going to be fantastic. You get to meet the ESPN Radio Chicago 1000 team, all-inclusive tailgate with all the bells and the whistles. Tickets to the Bears-Raiders game, which is probably the most important thing in the world, and there's more to come.
All right, spots are limited, so do not wait. Reserve your spot today at truefantravel.com.
Boom.
And so when you're dead set on going with Caleb and you're embarking upon now a mission to truly support him and make him the best quarterback he can be, you should have never kept the old coach, the defensive coach, in that building. So they flubbed that. Then they flubbed the hiring of the offensive coordinator. And that's all they do. It's all they've historically done is flub things. I hope that's finally in the past and in the rear view. I think it might be with this coaching staff. They could have finally gotten this one right. But then that's a reasonable explanation as to why there still might be some challenges and why there still might be, I don't know, some bumpy times ahead here. But there's still some concerning things about Caleb's game for all his talent. There are some concerning things. I think he's motivated enough. I mean, I don't think any of us ever really know this, but I guess as far as I can tell, he's properly motivated, and he does want to be great. I mean, he's always talked about that. I don't think he just says it. I think he does work hard, and he wants to be good, and he's going to be pushed here by this coach, by this coaching staff, by the people around him now, and I hope they can get the most out of him. Getting rid of the hero ball stuff is like the number one priority, and teaching how to look at the defense and see or anticipate what it's going to be, and how to read leverage, and how to understand where the ball's supposed to go in the progression of the offense is going to be of the utmost importance. If he can't conquer those things, he's never going to be as great as everybody thought, hoped, expected. He's got to be able to do those things. And every great quarterback, every truly great quarterback in this league can operate on time and can be efficient from the pocket. And if we don't see him get better at those things, it's never going to reach the heights that we all hoped and expected. I'm willing to still say you got to give it a little time, because they basically washed his first year, which is terrible. And you can't do anything about that. Like, the past is the past. You just have to focus on now and try to get it right. I'm willing to still give him time, even if it's uneven this year. I think we'll know it if we see it. I think we'll know the growth if we start to see it.
But even if we don't see it this year, he's still not going to, they're not going to draft a first-round quarterback next season.
Of course not.
They're going to give him until the fifth year.
At least to the fourth,
so
you would think. You're
pretty
much committed here, certainly for the next 2 seasons. I think you're pretty much committed to trying to make this work, considering the investment you have in him. One of the biggest things, and we're going to see it, guys, I'm telling you, especially let's get a handful of games in. It would be crazy to overreact too quickly through 2, 3, maybe even 4 games. But once we get a decent data set, let's start looking at those sack numbers, and let's see what they look like, and let's see if the sack percentage comes down. That's going to be one of the big telltale signs. Is he taking less sacks? Is he getting rid of the ball in a more timely fashion? is he playing on time within the structure of Ben's offense? But you cannot have a sack percentage north of 10%. His was almost 11%, and play offense in this league. It's not going to happen. Good offense, efficient, high potent, winning offense. It is simply not going to happen. And that number has to come down. And I think that'll be a really good telltale sign as we get into the season to see what some of those numbers look like. Some of that should be an improved offensive line. Some of that's got to be on Caleb. I think a lot of that actually is on the quarterback and is on Caleb to better understand the importance of getting rid of the ball on time.